Going to try a different route today than what we've been doing normally. I'm going to go off-road. Feeling a little bit more confident in my tires. I shouldn't get too confident though. Had my tire problems with this bike. Most of the tire problems that I've had were with the original tires and tubes. They're just extremely thin. The tire carcass was very thin, and the knob pattern on it left 90% of the carcass exposed. The tubes were also paper thin. I mean, goat heads. And come on, goat heads are they're terrible. They're sharp. They're pointy. Nature's caltrops. No matter which orientation they land on the ground, they've got sharp, pointy things sticking up, just waiting for a foot, whether it be a human barefoot or a dog or a cat or something, anything that's walking by is going to get punctured by a goat head. Bicycle tires. Oh my God. On my mountain bike, I always ran tire liners. The plastic, they're flexible, but they're supposed to be really tough. In fact, one of the main brands of them is called Mr. Tuffy tire liners. And I always had really good luck with them on my mountain bikes. And then I ran slime in the tubes. Well, now it's, back then slime was, if you wanted to put a sealant in your tube, slime was what you had available. There was one I ran in my motorcycle, Kawasaki KLR 650. It was a PJ1 version of slime. I used the PJ1 chain lube and it worked real well, so I tried their version of slime. And it worked almost too well. It was crazy how well it worked. Yeah, riding past a school, so you got a bunch of people here don't know how to drive. Barking dogs. Barking dogs are terrible. Why would anybody have dogs that bark all the time? They're everywhere. Okay, so I need to find a different way to get to this access point for the off-road here. I see if I go past that sign, I'm legally trespassing. And, if I was to run across a law enforcement officer, I've already been properly warned. I can't go there. That's trespassing. But down here, there is no trespassing sign. So all somebody can do is tell me to leave. I haven't been warned here. Yeah, they can say, well, you saw the one down there. Yeah, maybe I did. I've never had a problem out here, though, on this property. I don't know if it's all owned by the same individual or company or whatever. but I've been riding my mountain bikes out of here for over a decade. Well, the homeless guy that was here, he moved on, but he left his trash. Seems that they always do. And this is why places get posted no trespassing. The people don't respect the property. Treat it as if it's your own. Take good care of it. If you're homeless, vagrant as I call it, and you're living out here in your tent, the trash you haul to your tent, haul it back out. Pack it in, pack it out. It's a standard backpacker, backcountry philosophy. And if everybody would do it, places wouldn't have so much trash on them. I hate to see trash everywhere. But that's just the way people are. So my tires, with the getting back to the tires thing, yeah. The original tires were rags, and as soon as I took this bike out of the box and assembled it, I took it for a ride, and I rode around one of the local fields. Little did I know, it was thoroughly infested with goat heads. I just took a short little ride just to see if everything was assembled correctly and working. And came back and parked the bike and looked at it a few minutes later. The front tire was flat. Yep, it was full of goat heads. So I got some slime, because slime is what's available at local stores. And I put it in the front tire and pulled all the goat heads out. Aired it up and everything was fine. For the most part, slime will take care of goat heads. But then I find out later that there are a lot of much better tire sealants out there. The one that I've bought some of but have not yet installed it in the bike is called Flat Out. Everybody that uses Flat Out swears by it. Great stuff. Actually saw a guy, I guess he was taking the useless paper thin old original tires off of the bike and putting better tires on, and he decided to do a little testing of Flat Out. Let's see, which way do I want to go here? I don't know. So he wanted to test the Flat Out and see what it would do. And he drove a nail into the tire, pulled it out, sealed it right up, no problem. He drove a bigger nail into the tire, like a big carpentry, like framing, house framing nail. He drove that into the tire, pulled it out, Flat Out, sealed it right up. Which, to me, that right there would tell you that's some pretty good stuff. So he got out his cordless drill I'll put a link to this if I can find it. He pulled out his cordless drill and he put a 1/4 inch bit in it and he drilled a hole through the tire, through the tube, and flat out took care of it. Now, when flat out or slime or any kind of a sealant like that, when it seals a hole, there's a certain amount of air escaping, which takes the fibers of this sealant to the hole, through the hole, seals it up. So you gotta think, okay, I'm losing some air pressure here. It sealed the hole, but I gotta air this thing back up. Well, he didn't air it back up. But since the 1/4 inch sealed the it got the 1/4 inch drill bit hole was sealed, he dragged out a 3/8 bit and drilled a 3/8 hole, and it sealed it. It almost sealed it. It was well on its way to sealing it. Had he had it at full pressure before drilling a 3/8 hole in it, I believe it would have sealed it, because it's, I guess it's got Kevlar fibers in the mix, which is I don't know how much difference that makes, but I'm putting that in my tires because it works. And slime, more on that later. So that was my first flat tire. So then I was on my way about a week later, on my way to my mechanic shop to pick up my truck, which is having some work done on it. And about halfway there, the rear tire went flat. Got pictures of it. It was about probably a 3/8 wide slash in it from some sort of stick. It was weeds, the heavy duty, we'll call it the trunk part of a weed, and it tore open that paper thin tire, tore open that paper thin tube with slime in it, and the slime didn't fix that hole. I wouldn't expect it to. And that's when I decided we got to get the tire liners in there and take care of that problem. Now, this is the exact same sign that was down there where I went around it. I'm thinking probably the same owner keeping you off of that property. So people have started driving around it, and we got a new road that goes around that property. They dug a little V-ditch around it for drainage. Looks like they're probably going to build on it right next to the cemetery. Maybe they're expanding the cemetery. I don't know. But anyway, they didn't have to put a fence up for me. All they had to put up was a no trespassing sign. But anyway, I called my mechanic to let him know I wasn't going to make it to pick up my truck. And he jumped in my truck, the owner of the shop. German Dreams is the name of the shop in Bakersfield. He works mostly on German cars, but they can work on any kind of car. And very honest, trustworthy, wonderful people. He jumped in my truck and came to get me. Threw the bike in the truck, drove over to the shop, paid my bill, and Went home. So yeah, I'm looking at this tire and thinking that's just not enough. There's not enough meat in that tire to be riding. And I was on road. I wasn't off road when that happened. So I bought the new tires, much heavier, beefier tires. The carcass itself is a lot thicker, and a lot more of the carcass has knob on it. Oh, geez, look at this trash. You got to go through the trash pile. These people are ridiculous. I hate people dumping trash. So, one of my new tubes, I already had slime in. I bought 2 new tubes, 2 new tires, and 4-inch wide tire liners, which, let me tell you right up front, those are very difficult to install. These are the normal plastic ones, not the, I can't remember the name of the ones that wrap around the sidewall and everything, and they're so thick that you actually have to have a smaller size inner tube to go in it, because there isn't room for the inner tube that is the size that the tire calls for. So anyway, put the tire liners in, had slime in the tube, had the heavier duty tire, and I got a flat front tire. It went down slow. I felt it starting to handle funny, so I scooted home as quick as I could. I wasn't very far away when I felt it starting to handle funny. And I made it home before losing all the air in the tire. Yeah, I guess this is why you put up no trespassing signs. Because people think, well, hey, nobody lives here. There's no buildings or anything. I'll just move in and live here. Okay. That's a first for out here. And when I got home, took the wheel off. This is the front wheel. Took the wheel off and took the tire off. Couldn't find anything in the tire. I run my hands around the inside of the tire to see if something broke off inside the tire. Nothing. So whatever this was, it was pretty small. No hole in the tire that I could find. But I saw a little bit of green slime in one area of the tube. So I looked in that area on the tire, and I did find a tiny little puncture in the tire. Tiny. You wouldn't find it if you didn't know where to look. Tiny little puncture in the tube. And it was right in the area where the tire liner, the overlap of the tire liner. So it went through the tire, through 2 layers of the tire liner, and through the tube, made a tiny little hole, and slime didn't seal it. That's embarrassing. I felt like I was doing all the right stuff, but I guess not. Got it flat anyway. Bumpy, rocky. The suspension on this thing is nothing to get excited about. But anyway. So now, my plan is to buy a set of those thick tire liners. I'll find out what the name is and put it in the description. That wrap around the sidewalls and everything. They're, I believe, about $80 for a pair of them, 20-inch by 4-inch. And I'm going to put those in there with these beefier and see if I can avoid flat tires. Because it's a pain to work on these bikes' tires at home. It's even worse out in the field. I don't want to have to repair a flat tire on this bike in the field. Whoa, now. There we go. I ain't the rider I used to be. You have to stop for a red light when you're on the sidewalk? They could just write me a ticket for being on the sidewalk. Hey, it says bike lane. Okay. So, but there's a bike lane in the street too. Okay. Things ain't the way they used to be. The squirrel just went down the drain. Hope he's okay. He probably knows where he's going. Big pieces of glass. Geez, let's have some traffic out here later on. Now, if you're in a crosswalk, they legally have to stop for you. But I don't want them to. They're whistling right along, heading to get on the freeway. I don't need to get in the way of that. I'll wait until there's no traffic coming before I cross. That's just the way I've always been. I feel like I should be running just a little bit more air pressure in my rear tire. I think I've got 25, 26 PSI in there. The rear tire is where all of my weight is. Just feels a little, I don't know. Front tire feels pretty good at about 25 to 27 PSI. I had it at 35. Oh, no, you don't. I had both of them at 35 PSI. The ride was just unbelievably harsh. So I bumped it down some. But that just slightly wishy-washy feeling in the back end, it just keeps me nervous. Am I getting the flat? Am I getting this one? Good morning. What's that?
Are you crossing this way?
No.
Okay.
No, and I wouldn't want you to get out of that chair if I was crossing that way. I'm 68 years old. I've been doing this a long time.
I get a lot of the bicyclists and the people running, and I can't even keep up with you guys.
Hey, I'm glad there's a lot of people out here having fun. And that's what I'm doing. Stop sign?
Yeah, they don't stop.
Yeah, you probably see a lot of that too.
Yes, all day.
It's crazy. Stop sign, red lights. You got to watch what's going on because there's a lot of that out there. And that's why they have to have you here.
Yeah.
You know? I just, stay safe.
I will.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
And that's why I try to stay off as far away from the cars as I can whenever possible. Because they're a bunch of damn lunatics. I mean, I drive a car too, but I'm not as crazy as those guys. I don't put people's lives in danger. That guy was probably going 50 when he came through that stop sign near a school. And it's during the hours that the kids, I don't see any kids here now, but it's during the hours that they have a crossing guard. So it's during the hours that school kids are crossing there. And here comes this guy 50 miles an hour through the stop sign. While somebody was stopped in the left turn lane, just blew right past him. Crazy. The crazy, crazy world we live in. You got to be careful. You got to watch out for your own safety. I feel much safer out in the boonies than I do on a road. Yeah, there's rattlesnakes out there. You hardly ever see them actually, but there's rattlesnakes out there. There's ruts that will swallow you and your bicycle alive. There's just all kinds of things out there that can hurt you, but nothing like a dummy in a car.